Well, all I'm saying, it didn't look like you did any work. Because there's only that, what, like, four buildings? One in, four buildings.
Finally left.
Oh, nasty brutes.
I heard the ogres outside, tearing down walls and murdering folk. Don't remember how things got this bad.
The elderly woman needs her hands, her knuckles are swollen knobs, and her palms are rigid with calluses that scrape and rasp as she rubs them together.
But you're the new adventurer. Renengild's latest volunteer.
Greatest volunteer! She squirts at you, leaning precariously forward on her wobbling legs.
A real spitfire, she told me. Bet you'd whip those layabouts at the mine into shape.
I think I could do that. I'd like to ask you something.
Did you say something, dear?
Did you tell me something, dear? On my left ear, please.
Me? I was the overseer at the mine, back when it was running. Got shut down decades ago when we couldn't sell or ship the stuff. But I still remember plenty about the mining business. And I got as many folk as I can digging out the entrance.
She taps her head, a spotty dome under a thin thatch of hair.
Been praying to the salty wench that I don't forget too much afore they finish the job. Got to speak up? My hearing ain't what it was.
Shut up. Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Hello, heard you might find you here. A stocky red-faced man gives you a pleasant, if awkward, smile. Pleasure to meet you. I'm a captain of the militia around here. Nice to meet you. I want to catch you before you went running off into the wild. See, there's a few dangerous folk you might be on the lookout for. Plus, if you're heading out to Longwatch Falls, I thought you might could pick up a thermal pearl from me. He looks away and twists the toe of his boot into the snow. You want me to find a thermal pearl for you? That's the thing, I already found it. I just need someone else to go out and get it. Saw it in the hot springs up near Lochmont Falls. Would have grabbed it myself, but it's when I looked around I saw the logfish. Must have been 50 of them. I would have fought, but I started to wonder what the rest of Stalwart would do without me, so I ran. For the sake of the village, of course. Of course. So what is this pearl? They form in the hot springs, something to do with all the minerals in the water. Smell kinda funny, but they're full of minerals. Just have to crumble them up into what? What? Why would you want to crumble? What? He grins and you notice that his gums are bleeding. Oh. To cure scurvy. Like I said, the pearl is one of the thermal pools near Longwatch Falls. Should be hard to spot. Tell me more. It's east of Stalwart. Got some nice views of the valley, but most folk avoid it these days. Plenty of wild nearby. Only takes a few inches of snow to block the pass. If you're heading that way, I suggest talking to Thisk. He might have something to help you deal with the log theft. All I need to know. Stop by Thog's Bar before you leave town. This is the house next to us. So remind me about the pearl you wanted. Got a glimpse of it. You say something about dangerous folk. We get our share of crazies out there. Most of them aren't even from the village. He laughs at his own jokes. The latest groups I've heard of were the Gleaming Society and the Sisterhood of the Slacked Skull. But Reginald set aside some bounty money to see if those troublemakers were taken care of. You bring me the heads of their leaders, I'll give you payment. Okay, a Gleaming Society. Crazy pack of radicals that want to topple government and kill the wealthy. Makes the War of Defiance look like a food fight. Duck Avir and the Regent of Redisir both declared them illegal, which is probably the only thing those two would agree on. Or would have, before all the murder and mayhem and defiance spray. Yeah, I can say that. He frowns, scratching the back of his neck. Anyway, check Longmore Falls to the east. That's where they were last seen. So, Sisterhood. That'll be Metzla. One of the members of the Sisterhood worship Baraf by sending as many folk back to the wheel as they can. He shivers. They've been poking around Durgan's battery, and Will only knows why. But you can understand why no one around here was pleased to hear about it. Passed through town recently, didn't stay long, but they stopped at the temple of Ondra. You might see if Lafra knows anything. If you come across them, be careful. They're unpredictable. You okay? Ah.
My thoughts wander often to the lost builders of this fortress we seek. They were erased from the world. I wonder, was it meant to be so?
Everything happens with a purpose, even if unclear to us.
Then Alpazga would agree. A cruel fate is as perfect as a joyous one. Still, it is hard not to wonder why. Zawa is ready. These feuds between Ogre and Kith, I do not see them ending until one is wiped out. Or both.
I want to know more about your beliefs.
The ways of the Nalpazga can make little sense to an outsider.
Alpazga?
We are the warriors of the Takan. Nobles, peasants, it does not matter.
It does not matter.
We are souls caged in flesh, nothing more.
He knocks on the sternum. That would be really... Oh.
But it is one thing to say it, another to know
To
it.
know it.
So we train until we know it. Or until we meet our ends.
I'll guard you for a moment.
I give this answer because it is what you wanted, but the Nalpazga would say different. They would say that we are nothing at all.
What do Alpazga seek? Flower studies the horizon. He smiles if at a pleasant thought, and does not look at you as he speaks.
Perfection.
Perfection. He lets the words hang in the air for a moment, as though it were an improvisation.
Look around you. The world is perfect. Every being, every moment, every death.
He frowns and shakes his head.
Rarely do we see this. We stumble through life, lost in distractions. Every practice of the Nalpazga is a reminder to stop stumbling, to know the perfection.
How can you say the world is perfect?
You think the world imperfect? Most would agree. Most would say the world is imperfect because we suffer. They imagine a world without suffering and dream of living there, and suffer all the more for it.
Beneath Sawa's calm expression, a deep fervour begins to glow like a fanned ember.
This is their mistake. The world is perfect. It was created by a boundless wisdom. It is for us to learn why a perfect world requires that we suffer.
When we met, you said you were freeing yourself from vanity.
Vanity is a snare that roots us to the ground. The way we see ourselves, the way others see us, these things are not real. They cannot be touched. The Nalpazga teachings reveal many such snares. Fear, pleasure, doubt, hatred. They hold us back if we let ourselves be caught.
And what happens if you can avoid being caught?
Then you see only what is truly there, and you suffer no longer. You become as a god, seeing things as they do.
Sawa speaks as one recalling a fantastic dream.
If you can loose yourself from the snares, then you are free.
Tell me about your scars, Bill. There's the scars.
I meet people on the road, and they pity me. I have come to find it endearing.
Endearing.
They see so many scars, and they wonder, how can the man beneath not be broken?
He runs his fingers over the puckered remnant of a gash in his left forearm.
A scar is a wound that heals, a living reminder of our power over suffering.
Ow.
They cause no pain, only the echo of pain, which cannot hurt you. Show me a scarred man, and I will show you a man who can overcome.
Maybe. That's really about, like illness and all that. There's more into that. Yeah, so why are you eating snow? Why drugs, mate? Why drugs? Why?
The Malkid Show?
Why?
At any time, it is rare that I have not eaten some.
Oh, great.
When you first try it, it seems a beautiful fantasy. You see colors you have never seen, meet creatures that are not there.
Okay.
With practice, you see that all it does is show you reality, the essence of all things, how they are alike and connected.
If you're seeing things, that's not reality.
I have watched trees grow and wilt before me. I have tasted meat and known the animal's life as if it were mine.
He leans in conspirality. Well, that's constipation, is it not?
But the Malkachoa often causes the stomach to empty with great violence, so it is not for everyone.
There you go. Yeah, okay. Tell me again why you think you should suffer. That we should suffer.
If I did not suffer, I would not aspire to free myself from it. I would wander from one unfulfilling goal to the next. More wealth, a better station. My soul would wither. But to search for a place beyond suffering's reach is to nurture the soul, to harden it against the elements.
Clenches his fist in illustration.
Suffering is the greatest gift the gods have given us, their most beautiful, perfect creation. It is the hand that turns the wheel.
His eye gleam as though looking upon an old and beloved friend.
I would gladly cast light upon them. You would ask much of one who knows little.
Where did you learn to fight?
Most Takan have two choices. They can grow crops, or they can become Nalpazka warriors. I was the youngest of 5, a dreamer. The Nalpazka were always in my thoughts. They did not feel the same about me. 3 times I tried to join their ranks. 3 times I was refused.
Why?
All that time spent dreaming, and I had not thought to prepare. I was lazy, uncoordinated, overweight. If they had not refused me, what shame I might have brought to them.
But they accepted you eventually?
They had no choice. Our high priestess had a vision.
Let me guess. Malkachoa?
Malkachoa plus some other shit, knowing her. No one put on a better ceremony than she did.
What did she see?
She saw me as chieftain, leading a host of Nalpazka warriors to victory over our enemies, the Kechmatl.
The last word twists his mouth as though he'd eaten something spoiled.
Our last chieftain had died over the winter. A new one had not yet arisen from the Nalpazka. So the timing was right. The next day they brought me before Ishipilo, the great master of the Nalpazka, and I became his pupil.
And as Ixopilo taught you everything you know now?
I still trained with the other instructors, sparred and meditated with my Nalpazka brothers and sisters. I learned from all of them. But learning from Ishipilo was a chieftain's privilege. He knew the secrets that could grant mastery over reality, invincibility in combat. When a Nalpazka was deemed a worthy successor to a chieftain, greater than all his peers, Ishipilo would take him in, prepare him for the future. I would not be as I am now without his lessons.
Did your teacher know how to master reality? Did you learn the secrets? Sawa opens his mouth to speak, but only a slow exhalation escapes. He looks at you, frowning, and tries again.
Not all of them.
Teach you then.
A story for another time, perhaps. One thing he did teach me was that the more you talk, the less you hear. And the less you hear, the less you have that is worth saying.
Okay.
Ishimital is vast. Outsiders think of it as one land and its people as one people. But if you walk across it, you see that there are many Ishimitals. The Ishimitl that Takan know is rich in soil and water. The crops seem to grow in front of you. We build our homes along the Akia River, and it is good to us. Though every so often it floods, so that the Takan do not forget their suffering. It would not be the rainy season without my neighbor Esley swimming after his escaped goats and nearly drowning.
Murph and Sawa's face buries itself suddenly, as though evading capture.
But home is an idea, no more real than justice or honor. My home is here now, wherever I stand.
What were you doing before you came here?
I hope to share knowledge with the monks of the Thousand Dreams. Their monastery lies east of here. They are said to be seekers of greater truth, like the Nalpazga. But if they still exist, I did not find them there.
Okay, okay. Right.
Sure.
Fun story though. Which is nice. Okay, alright. Alright.
Feels like home. Only thing this place needs is some sliced blubber and a dozen romping foxes.
Blubber.
Margaren's cast light.
Still can't feel my fingers. Thought I'd found shelter when I stumbled across this little village. Guessing you did too, huh?
Fira raises a frosty mug to you. Even though the warmth of the hearth reaches you here, her hands are wrapped in rye wool and her ears muffled by a hat. Her face has the taut, wind-beating look of someone who's recently come from the road.
As much blood as there was in the streets, I'm lucky the ale's still flowing.
She takes a drink, and as she tilts her head back, you see a bruise purpling her jaw and the crimson blood of scraped knuckles. What exactly happened to you?
Thought all the whispers about Durgan's battery were just village superstition. And maybe they are. But I might have been on my guard if I'd listened. I was part of an expedition, hunting for relics from Durgan's battery. And picked up a good haul, too.
Takes a slow swallow of her beer.
So it figures that's when the winds pick up and the sky starts dumping snow. We lost sight of the road. Meanwhile, something else found us. Took Liam out before we even realized we were surrounded. And then we see him coming out of the snow. These little four-armed wilder. Lagufoth, they're called.
Shakes her head, staying at the embers in the fire pit.
Quick little bastards. Francesca and I held them off as long as we could, but when they filled her full of darts, I turned tail and ran.
Oh, great.
Found my way here and thanked my luck for escaping the Lagufoth. Then come to find out that this town's got an ogre problem.
I'm sorry to hear about your friends.
That's a kind sentiment. I'll mourn them when I get home. But I've got to retrieve our haul if I'm to have any hope of that.
I guess I'll be retrieving that then.
I need to get those artifacts. Not that I'm in any shape to go after them myself. But I can't afford to return to Defiance Bay without something to show for my expedition.
Apprehension creeps into her expression. She stares into her mug, swirling its contents.
But you've got your own expedition to the battery, don't you? While you're out there, maybe you could look for my goods. Whatever's left of them.
Oh yeah. She looks up from her mug, hopeful.
I'll give you a cut for anything you bring back, of course. I ain't asking for charity. I just can't afford to go home empty-handed.
Tell me what you're looking for.
Like I said, we were treasure hunting near Durgan's battery when we were ambushed. What else do you want to know?
Reginald told me about another expedition came through before I arrived.
Who?
But it wasn't.
No, that would have been somebody else. We didn't meet with Renengild, or anyone else in town for that matter. We were operating on our own.
Why are these relics so important to you?
We took out several loans to pay for our trip out here. I'm gonna have trouble if I don't pay them back.
You could just run away. Okay, remind me where I can find your caravan.
What's left of it should be near Durgan's battery. If you stumble across the Lagufoth, you'll know you're close.
What do you know about Durgan's battery?
Just that it's been locked up tight for 200 years on account of those dwarves having a row. Which means that any trinkets from inside fetch a nice price. Sorry, I'm more of a businesswoman than a historian.
Okay, so 13 perception. Oh, I had perception. I've got 4. Okay.
Never seen such a bloodbath. Feels like we got half the town's survivors in here just drinking to forget it.
The dwarf surveys the crowd, his expression sober despite the half-empty flogging by his hand. He shakes his head and looks to you, remembering himself.
But you must be looking for some refreshment too after the way you handle them ogres. Or perhaps a room. Say the word and I'll give that shifty little Orlin the boot.
There you go. I thought you might want to know that Reynard asked me to steal your liquor.
He did he? That shifty little crook never learns. I'll have it put away somewhere safe. Thank you for doing the decent thing. Here, for your honesty.
You're welcome. You're welcome. A lovely drop. Lovely drop, eh? Yeah. I don't know. Alright.
Back to warm your hands, eh? What can I do for you?
Earlier you said something about an Orlan.
Showed up a few days ago, sticks his nose out of the back room just long enough to empty his chamber pot.
He squints toward the hall as if daring the Orlan to show himself.
Up to no good, I tell you. I'd like nothing more than to see him gone, but I don't want to ruckus over it.
I could talk to him.
I'd appreciate it. But I suppose I don't need to remind you that I don't want you to hurt him. I'm sure you can find a more discreet way of handling the problem.
Gives you a meaningful look. Okay. Okay.
Back to warm your hands, eh? What can I do for you?
See a spot by the fire where we can put our feet up.
Nothing like a pint to take the chill off.
No, not really, no.
Not to be rude, but I'm rather busy. Can't you get another room?
Orlan turns and glances past you with a quick nervous motion. His ears, shredded and sculpted at the edges, are pressed against his skull. This one hides something. His mind is a maze of fear.
He... what? Oh no. No.
He runs his claws through his ear and tugs at his long, rugged ears. Can't imagine why you think of a thing like that.
Is she there? Did you see her?
He leans around you, peering at the doorway. Talking about?
Devala. That woman. The slaver, she...
The fat one.
I was a slave in Raid Ceres. I ran away. Made it here. The mountains are usually the best place to lose slavers, but Devala's one of the best.
And Tremble Eyes picks up his worn tunic. As long as slavers taunt his steps, there can be no freedom for his spirit. I can help him.
I just want to get out of here. I've scraped together enough money to reach New Haelmar.
New Helmar, that's hardly an improve. He stops himself, eyes wide. I mean, it's lovely. You'll love it. Well, he really, really wants him to go there, eh? Well, that's nice of you, Olaf. So that must be the demon or whatever's inside him.
But the locals talk about a Raid Saren party camped west of town.
He worries at a ragged shirt sleeve.
It's got to be Devala. She's been after me since the foothills. I'll pay you if you can get rid of her. I don't care how. Thank you. But be careful. She wouldn't have come alone.
Slave hunter, okay. Now, is that what actually happening, or is something else happening?
Is she there? Did you find Devala? She wouldn't have followed me all the way here just to turn around and go home. No. She's a group of woodcutters stopped in the other day. Said they'd passed a group of Raid Sarens west of town. Near a frozen pond, I think. The hero of the hour. Helfix sends you down here to check up on us. We aren't causing trouble. Oh my word. Are you? Tellig, humble fisherman. Though with the other ogres coming down all the time, well, I see no fish for truth down a bottle for the time being. Don't suppose you know where a man could find some thriving liquor. Oh, Helfix's best is over there. But it wouldn't, friend. It's a mess of traps, and I should know. Nearly took my eyebrows off. What are you playing?
Doesn't care to test your luck? Each of us puts down 50 pans, 3 wins, and you take the 100. Could explain the rules if you like. No. Couldn't care less.
If you weren't gonna fetch the liquor for me, you didn't have to tell Havrick about it. Now he's banned me from the inn altogether.
Well, I figured it'd keep you out of trouble.
Out of trouble? It was only a drink. Now I get to die sober when the ogres come back. Right, fair enough. What do you want?
See ya. Well, you're a lazy piece of shit. And you got what you deserve.
Yourself on the mountain, coming to your elders for advice.
I said I should touch you
What can I
before I
do
head
for
to your
you?
Long Watch Falls. And good thing you did. Hot springs north of the road are crawling with Logfoth. And suppose Tolgoth found himself out there? Yes, he did. The thing to know about Logfoth is they're fast. Tolerant to cold too, so try another angle of attack. Tolerant to cold. So something seems to occur to him. He pats his pockets, clenching his pipe between his teeth. They'll come in handy. Use them if you get into trouble. He hands you a few sealed bottles. An old hunter looks at you up and down, puffing on his pipe. Potion of mirror imaged.
Nowhere. Say, I don't suppose you've seen any mysterious old buildings in the mountains lately, have you?
The Amura wears an assortment of bangles, bands, cuffs, and chairs as thick as armour. She watches you with a raised eyebrow and eyes gleaming with mirth. You mean Durgan's Battery?
No, but I've heard that name a lot around here. I'm looking for the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. It's an obscure temple dedicated to Andra.
And why are you looking for the Abbey?
I'm a gift bearer. My job is to gather tokens of things people want forgotten and surrender them to the Lady of Lament. Best place to do that is the Abbey of the Fallen Moon.
What kind of tokens do you take?
Anything that represents a moment or a memory someone wishes to leave behind. Well, love notes, awkward family heirlooms, bad poetry, the kinds of things you want to forget.
I see.
I might be here a while. Half the villagers have never heard of the Abbey, and the ones that have, no one knows where it is. So I'm trying to think of this as an extended holiday in a remote mining village that smells like fish.
Lovely. I've got business in the region. We could travel together.
You won't regret it. I've got a lovely singing voice.
We'll be taken rid of now. Man. Like I say, the group I want to take with me all the time is Adir and Name. I'll have to do they two. I think. Looks like I can. Okay.
I will wait in the place of your strength.
Barbarian. Barbarian. Okay. Personally. Okay.
Tell me,
Yeah, what you got for me? How'd you end up in Stalwart? The other gift bearers told me Stalwart was close to the Abbey, so they suggested I ask for directions in towns. You mean the other gift bearers don't know where the Abbey is? Like I said, it's one of Orden's most ancient temples, and her followers aren't really known for their record keeping. They're not exactly dressed for the weather. Well, in Sample's flat is a platter, so when the gift bearers told me Stalwart was way up in the mountains, I thought they were exaggerating. Anyway, I hate packing. Why did you become a gift bearer? I guess I like wandering and meeting new folk. I've never been good at staying in one place for long. Okay, I have questions about the Abbey. Me too. Why are you looking for the Abbey?
I'm a gift bearer. My job is to gather tokens of things people want forgotten and surrender them to the Lady of Lament.
Lady of Lament.
Best place to do that is the Abbey of the Fallen Moon.
What kind of
Anything that represents a moment or a memory someone wishes to leave behind.
You got a good voice though, I'll give her that.
Well, love notes, awkward family heirlooms, bad poetry, the kinds of things you want to forget.
Yeah, things you want to forget. Gift bearers usually dispose of tokens in the sea. Why are you going to the Abbey?
Well, you throw some things into the sea and maybe they wash up on shore one day.
Yeah, that was quick.
But you want something really good and forgotten, you take it to the Abbey. Well, you throw some things into the sea and maybe they won't. But you want.
So, what are you talking? Well, what are you taking to the Abbey now?
The Abbey's all about forgetting. Wouldn't be much forgetting if I told you about it, would there?
I want to know. Where to begin? I spent almost 10 years as a mercenary in Old Valia. Plenty of work there. She tilts her head up and starts counting items off on her fingers. After that, I fought with pirates, the Deadfire, or for them, depending on who was paying. Deadfire, I've heard that before. Did a short stint in the White That Wends, then roamed around the Living Land, and finally joined the Gift Bearers in Exceltia. And here I am. Actually, I was asking about where you came from before your adventures. Not much to tell. She waves a hand and looks away quickly. Well, that means she has a lot to tell. Grew up in Ruatai, left when I was still pretty young and haven't been back since. Why not? Oh, you know, spent almost 20 years there. Change of scenery is good, right? She gives you a breezy smile, but it looks forced. Why so much travel? Guess staying in one place never much suited me. And you gave up soldering, piracy and adventuring to join Ordra's gift bearers? Still plenty of ventures, just different circumstances. What was Old Valia like? Grand, a skirmish every day and a feast at another Comte or a Marchesco's keep every night. Those were good, carefree days. Tell me about Deadfire Archipelago. Dangerous, you got pirates and sea monsters, and don't even get me started on the merchants. I had a good run there, but I got tired of trying to keep track of who had a knife pointed at my back. Experience in the White That Wins. Short, the place is too cold for anything but leaving. Right. Well, you came to the wrong place for that as well. Living Lands. Most folks are, even after 10 years there, feels like I saw the edges of the place. You can start a day in a desert and find yourself in the middle of the jungle by the nightfall. Everything there is just a little wilder. Goes for the folk as well as the creatures. Part of me misses it still, but you wake up every day knowing it might be your last. I stayed lucky longer than anyone has a right to expect. I stayed lucky longer than anyone has a right to expect. Okay. That doesn't make sense. I guess she was just lucky that she escaped. Okay. So she certainly has a lot to go.